It might be difficult to remember at this point, but in the immediate aftermath of January 6th, most reasonable people knew who to blame. There was not a lot of disagreement that Donald Trump had inspired the violence that we saw, but it also only took a few days, a couple of weeks until things started to change. And the Republicans who'd been willing to condemn Donald Trump suddenly were singing a different tune. And in those brief moments following the insurrection, something could have been done. If Donald Trump had been impeached, tried in the Senate at that point, he might have actually been convicted, but he wasn't. And do you know who's apparently to blame for that? She's standing over there. I'm gonna give you the details. This is coming out. Ryan Grimm has a great write-up on this on the Intercept about a book, Unchecked, the untold story behind Congress's botched impeachment of Donald Trump. And let's lay out what happened as the insurrection was going on. So in one anecdote in the book, there were senators hiding in a conference room from protesters. Senator Lindsey Graham looked over and saw the Senate sergeant at arms in the safe room with them. Graham yelled at them, "What the hell are you doing here? Go take back the Senate. You've got guns, use them." He's ordering the sergeant at arms there to begin shooting MAGA people at that point. Graham then called White House attorney Pat Cicilline and warned that Republicans would remove Trump from office using the 25th Amendment if he didn't call off the mob. Well, as Graham was doing that, some Democrats thought, yeah, I think this is probably gonna lead to impeachment, and so they started working on that. The first member of Congress was Representative David Cicilline, Democrat of Rhode Island. He scribbled the impeachment write-up on scratch paper while locked down in the Rayburn House office building. He and Representative Ted Lieu worked on a 25th Amendment letter to Vice President Mike Pence, but at the same time kept pushing on impeachment because they probably rightly knew that they could not count on Mike Pence, notwithstanding the assassination plot against him. Now, Judiciary Committee counsel Aaron Hiller called his boss, Jerry Nadler, Chief of Staff Amy Ruckin, and told her, "I'm about to do something that's completely unauthorized by leadership. Should I tell you or not?" He told her, "Do it," she said. "Go find 200 co-sponsors right now and get it done. Don't wait for a blessing from leadership." And so eventually, Cicilline handed the impeachment write-up over to Representative Steny Hoyer. He's the person who actually controls the schedule on the floor. And instead of actually scheduling a vote in that immediate aftermath, he handed it to Nancy Pelosi. And that was where it died for a crucially long period of time. She decided to gavel, the chamber closed, everybody went home. And there was a bunch of arguing back and forth over the next week as the days rolled on. And eventually they did have an impeachment. But by that point, enough Republican politicians had been able to look out at the country, go on Fox News, and while initially they were willing to condemn Trump and say in no uncertain words that he had inspired this violence, that was his plan, they began to be reassured as they talked to regular Republicans that this was not actually a line that shouldn't be crossed to many of them. Many of them might be frustrated, but they were frustrated that the plan didn't work. And so some of those Republicans, like Lindsey Graham, who were willing to have MAGA voters gunned down by security, went back to endlessly defending Donald Trump. And apparently we can thank Nancy Pelosi for that.
Yeah, so I've got some conflicting thoughts on this. So first off, let's just establish as a side note here, Lindsey Graham, of course, exactly the coward that we thought he was. It's the guys who pretend to be the toughest that are the biggest cowards. So Lindsey Graham has been in favor of every single aggressive, offensive war that we've started and thought about starting. Like, oh yeah, we'll show the Iraqis how tough we are. The minute he's in danger, please shoot him all. He probably wet himself. He probably, I'm being literal. That's how much of a coward Lindsey Graham is. These Republicans who pretend to be tough guys are the weakest people you have ever met. If you just go boo, they're like, ah! Remember how scared they are of Muslims and immigrants and trans people? Just their whole lives is bathed in fear. And that's the kind of man Lindsey Graham is, okay? Remember, he was telling them, shoot our Republican supporters, Trump supporters. Go murder Trump supporters. By the way, Trump supporters, you okay with that? MAGA's cool with that? That's weird, right? So now, to the main event. I get the logic of, hey, Pelosi took too long, and then maybe in that moment, Lindsey Graham, after he cleaned up in the bathroom and got a new pair of pants, might have voted to impeach Trump because he was so scared, he was so angry, etc. Right? I don't believe it. I think it only took like 2 days for the Republicans to turn around from I can't believe Trump did that, or we were attacked and I might have been killed, to right back to our goddamn knees and licking Donald Trump's boots, right? So they would have licked his shoes no matter what. Lindsey Graham is a coward through and through. The minute the trouble is over, he's back on his knees and groveling at Trump. So there's no way the Republicans would have convicted Trump. So that's my sense, okay? Now, having said that, why is Nancy Pelosi slow rolling it? So look, this is the giant disconnect between people who view and read establishment media and people who read all of the news, okay? So if you just watch establishment media, they're never gonna talk about this, okay? Almost the only things they ever show are positive about Pelosi. So they're genuinely confused when we say she's weak. They're like, because the only thing they've ever heard on MSNBC is about what a lion she is, how she's so strong, double Speaker of the House, got Obamacare passed. She's a great hero, Nancy Pelosi. So if that's all you've ever heard your whole life, when we say she's weak, you're like, what? These guys are crazy. But that's because we know stories like this, where she, for no goddamn reason, goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's take it easy on Donald Trump after he tried to have us killed, invade the Capitol, and overturn democracy. Why? Why would you be that pathetically weak? And that is what Pelosi and Hoyer do 24/7. That is who they are at their core. Their instinct is, I gotta help Republicans. I gotta protect Republicans. Don't attack Republicans, whatever you do. They just nearly murdered you. In fact, Pelosi was one of the people that they were chanting about killing. And her first instinct was protect Republicans. That is unbelievable and pathetically weak.
Yeah, this story, and I say this as someone who's said a lot of nice things about Pelosi, is just an example to me of Democrats losing the momentum, of needing to know every single detail about something before even beginning the process. And in that, losing that critical moment. I mean, we saw that with the gay marriage vote. We saw that with abortion. We've seen that with gun control. This was perhaps the best opportunity to get real action. I mean, for a brief moment, Democrats had Lindsey Graham. He went out into the Senate floor and said, I'm done, count me out. This was insane. And well, I agree, it was probably an uphill battle to impeach Trump at any point. There never would have been a better moment than after all these people's lives was just credibly threatened. But instead, we chose to go the consensus path, to keep fact finding and working around and tooling things around. And people moved on. The party re-solidified around us. And we lost this great opportunity, at least to get Republicans honest and on the record for the first time ever. And instead, we got what we got, which was a very slow and still ongoing national disaster.
Yeah. So look, obviously we might all disagree about exactly how it might have played out, but I at least hope that we can take this as a teachable moment, learn something from it, and after the next insurrection in January 2025, maybe we can have a better immediate response.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.